Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As we come to the conclusion of a day filled with the celebration of the research excellence that PIM has to offer to the industry and the world, this indeed is what we can recognize. This evening event is what we can truly recognize as the cherry on top. Throughout the day, we've been speaking about the vitality of the industry, the academia, the business schools, working together, working hand in hand for a win-win situation, so that the academia can contribute the latest research findings towards business problem solving, and businesses can truly get that competitive advantage. Having spoken about it, as always, PIM being a place that walks the talk, we are delighted to present the industry dialogue as customary, where we bring together some of the truly groundbreaking research solutions that our learning partners has offered to the Sri Lankan economy over the last year, while combining it with a very insightful panel discussion, so that the true merging of research excellence and the industry insight can be combined towards collaborating for creating possible solutions for solving the problems of tomorrow. Today, we have 3 learning partners who will be presenting their final year projects, some of them being projects on solving existing corporate problems, while some of them being entrepreneurial ventures. For that, this will be followed by a panel discussion featuring 3 panelists along with a moderator, where the discussion will center around the role that research continues to play in adding more value to the Sri Lankan business sector. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, as we are ready to commence this industry dialogue, please feast your eyes on this curtain raiser video. Thank you. To deliver the welcome address, I am now delighted to invite an individual who has been a force of strength and support behind the PIM Annual Research Conference 2023, who is none other than the Director of PIM, Dr. Sena Kalungamage. Armed with over 2 decades of experience in university-level education management, Dr. Sena Kalumgamage has also served as a director of World Bank funded higher education projects of the University of Sri Jayawardenepura for over 10 years. A veteran in the field of knowledge creation, he is acknowledged in the industry for his significant contribution to academia as well as value-based leadership. He has also specialized in his postgraduate, doctoral, and postdoctoral studies in the fields of accounting and finance. He has provided dynamic leadership to the growth and success of PIM during difficult times of a pandemic and social and economic unrest in the country, while spearheading many new innovations. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage to deliver the welcome address the Director of PIM, Dr. Senaka Kalumgamage.
Thank you, Tarindu. Very good evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Let me warmly welcome all of you to this final session of our annual Research Conference 2023, PIMARC 2023. This session belongs to the industry dialogue. My colleagues, my faculty members, they are really tired today. We started our process from morning 9 a.m. and still it's going on. There are several sessions we completed, but finally we come to the conclusion session, that is the industrial dialogue, very important session. So on behalf of the faculty, on behalf of the PIM, let me warmly welcome all of you to this very important session, which gives the opportunity to our presenters to present their findings and get some feedback from the industry experts who are going to join today this stage. So with that note, without taking much of your time, let me warmly welcome our industry dialogue panel members. First of all, on behalf of the PIM, Ms. Kamlini Ellawala, Senior Manager Sustainability, Women Banking and CSR, Commercial Bank of Ceylon. Welcome, madam, for today's session, and your feedback as well as your experiences working with the entrepreneurs will help our presenters to get some comments. Further, I would like to welcome next our Mr. Ramesh Disanayaka, President of the PIM Alumni Association and also the founder chairman of Sunway Group of Companies. Welcome, Ramesh, to this industrial dialogue. I would like to also welcome Dr. Ravi Bamunusinghe, former founder of Sri Lanka Small and Medium Enterprises and also the visiting staff member of the PIM. Welcome, sir, to this particular session. Further, I would like to warmly welcome our moderator, the panel discussion, Senior Professor Ajanta Dharmasiri, Senior Faculty Member of the PIM, as well as the former Director of the PIM, to this session to make the moderation part of the process. Thank you, sir, for joining with us as a moderator. I would like to also welcome our coordinator of this particular session, Samantha Ratnayaka, of this industrial dialogue coordinator, as well as he is the one of our key senior faculty member who is handling the executive development programs as well as the diploma in management. So I would like to also welcome our paper presenters. Actually, they have completed their degrees, so presenting their findings of the various stream of research project they have mentioned. First of all, let me warmly welcome Ms. Yerushi De Silva, presenting her findings of management skills research project to the board, and also Ms. Bhagya Seranayaka, presenting her findings of the entrepreneurship skills project, and also Sriangani Dhanapala, presenting her findings of management field research project. I'm sure each one of you will be able to get a very good inputs from these panelist members who are going to make the comments regarding your presentation. I also warmly welcome distinguished invitees, organizing committee members who have done a lot of work to bring this annual conference into this level, alumni members, faculty members, administrative and non-academic staff of the PIM. With that note, while congratulating all the paper presenters who are going to make the presentation today in this final session, let me wholeheartedly wish the PIMARC 2023 Industry Dialogue a great success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director PIM, Dr. Sena Kalumgamage, for that very warm welcome address. Next, to set the tone for the industry dialogue, to share the purpose of the industry dialogue within the larger context of the PIM Annual Research Conference, it is my honor and pleasure to invite the key coordinator, the track coordinator for this industry dialogue, someone with a very strong research and practical application background, Dr. Samantha Ratnayaka. Dr. Samantha Ratnayaka is a senior lecturer at the Postgraduate Institute of Management. He is also the former chairman and a member of the panel of judges that evaluates the Entrepreneur of the Year Award competition organized by FCC ISL since 2016. He's also an editorial board member of the Journal of HRM, as well as being a governing council member and a head of the technical committee of the International Regional Management Conference since 2017, as well as the chairman of the Business School Committee of CPM, while also being the faculty coordinator for the Postgraduate Institute of Management's Alumni Association, also known as PIMARC. An editorial advisory board member of the biannual journal Global Management Review of the Sona School of Management in India, and he has graduated from the University of California with a special degree in HRM, an MBA from PIM, as well as a PhD from the Infrastructure University of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and holds the Certified Professional Marketer Asia and a Practicing Marketer Sri Lanka status, while being a Certified Human Resource Development Auditor. With such a vast academic and practical background and experience in a plethora of fields, it is a great pleasure to invite Dr. Samantha Ratnayaka on stage to set the tone on the industry dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Samantha Ratnayaka.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished invitees, the director and the staff of PIM faculty, and the presenters and other invitees and those who are joining virtual. So I have, I would say, within the next 5 minutes, I just want to set the tone for this, what is the context that we are operating here. In terms of the PIM research, that's the day. So if you look at the Industry Dialogue Forum, is now the kind of a setting platform for both the PIM faculty, the learning partners, and the industry to say come and like discuss what is this theory practice, or rather knowledge translation, and the role of the MBA into a larger purpose. So getting this knowledge into practice application, and so what are the other industry requirements which we need to cater. So that's a kind of the overall picture, the key purpose behind this. So having said that, if you look at in terms of the research per se, largely there are two domains. The one is that the research for knowledge creation, for filling the gaps. So if you look at the knowledge, the creation, knowledge translation, so that is where mainly the social research comes. So the PIM offers in that sense the wide array of opportunities in terms of the, we call management research projects, management case study projects, and so on. So they are all in this domain where the implications, managerial, practical implications are vital for the larger society to look at, apply, go and look at in terms of getting their business decisions aligned, reconfigured. But this one focuses on the other domain. So that is where the industry research part comes. So that is where the knowledge gap filling. So in terms of the PIM point of view, so the multiple interventions are there. So for an example, so if someone identifies a problem in an organization, so this is an opportunity for them to say, identify the problem, study it, like get involved, do the implementation, show the results. So that is where the largely we call management skills research project. So that's what you are going to see in a while. Whereas the situations where, according to a context, if there's a need in the market, where there's a clear gap, where you identify, you involve, you register your business, and you drive the business into the next application. So that is where entrepreneur skills research project comes, which we are going to see in a while. Where there are multiple other opportunities available in terms of due to various reasons, they might not be implementing immediately, but they need to get like consultants to have implementable, executable solutions in respective organizations. That is where largely we call management field research projects. So that is the third case. So having those three into a converged basket, I would say that, so this is where the intervention of learning partners of their theories, concepts into clear application. So the difference is that the degree of involvement, in some cases, executable report, in some cases, they're all research. They're all research according to the Center of Quality Assurance and Accreditation. But in terms of these practical insights, what they have gone through in the form of either entrepreneurial, in the form of skill real doing within that period, or executable consultancy report, which they are going to showcase. So you would witness three such cases. Of course, they have gone through their the respective Viva process, but today they would use those insights. They are supposed to present within, I would say, within 14 to 15 minutes range. Of course, my colleague Ms. Nelun is ready with the bell where she would indicate after about 12 minutes that you have 3 more minutes, but within 15 minutes, I'm sure you can compact that the entire, the whole presentation into a context. So then the panel members, in terms of here, you would see that the first panel is from the pictorial order, where we have originally invited Dr. Rana Singh, but due to a last minute kind of a health challenge, Dr. Bamu Singh rise to the occasion. So I would appreciate that. So he's bringing this entrepreneurial, social, larger practical insights into the context. In terms of Ms. Kamlini Ellavala, so where you are bringing a direct industry line of thinking into the practice. So having said that, Mr. Ramesh is representing the PIMA. So the PIMA is the PIM showcasing. So we are in terms of doing so many things together, but this is the kind of the dynamism where the president represents. Last year we invited the last year presidents, like that's practice. So that means the president is the showcasing limelight of the industry representation. So having said that, it's time for us to get that into a synthesis process by our own senior professor in management, Professor Dharmasiri. So the idea is to get these practices, applications into the next level. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the MBA, the higher education, particularly the postgraduate education, now at crossroads, because the outside industry demands are different, and institutional responses need to be reconfigured, need to realign. So if these nexus, this nexus is not taking place appropriately, I think we have to revisit what we are doing, why we are doing. I think that's the kind of a very volatile, dynamic time that we are going through. In such lineup, where we have like a few invitees here in the staff and some other the faculty members, also in terms of a few learning partners, those who are in the current batch, those who have completed. At the same time, we can see quite a number of the existing learning partners, those who are in the final project stage, are watching this. So that so we saw that different tracks they have gone through virtually in terms of understanding, because they are shaping their projects in the final stage. So definitely your inputs are immensely useful for them to realign, but particularly the panel discussion would give the lot of perspectives in terms of really crafting the way forward. So that's the whole objective. So let's enjoy that learning. So this is what the overall objective. So we'll take that forward in a positive spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samantha Ratnayaka, coordinator of the PIM Annual Research Conference Industry Dialogue, for explaining the model in which this will take place, as well as the role of the industry dialogue and its vitality. Thank you very much. So now we dive straight into the action. We will be having the 3 presenters presenting their research work, a summary of it, and this will be followed by the industrial discussion or the panel discussion. So our first presenter for the day will be Ms. Yerushi De Silva, Senior Executive Finance and Operations at Kraft Lanka Engineers Private Limited, and her final year research work is focused on reducing the debtor collection period at the Kraft Lanka Engineers Private Limited. So, Ms. Yerushi De Silva, the floor is yours to take us through your research. Thank you.
Mr. Karandu. Good evening all. I'm Yerushi De Silva. Today I'm going to present my management skills research project, which I conducted under the topic of reducing data collection period at Kraft Lanka Engineers Private Limited. So this is my outline for today's presentation. Let's start with the company overview. So Kraft Lanka Engineers Private Limited is an medium scale organization which operated for 30 years, where we engaged in importing and selling light commercial and domestic air conditioners under the brand name called Council. And I'm really honored to do this presentation in front of my father, or the founder of Kraft Lanka Engineers Private Limited. And let's talk about the problem background of this project. With this MBA knowledge, we were able to conduct SWOT analysis, where our team members conduct a brainstorming session, and we identified that there is an increasing trend in the debtor outstanding balances, which has resulted to increase the debtor collection period. And as I have conducted a skill project, we had a time constraint, so our project scope was limited to sales department. Here, the sales department, we choose sales department because 76% of the data outstanding balance was related to sales department. So our key problem is increasing data collection period in sales department. So in our company, this company standard is to maintain 60 days as the data collection period. But after analyzing past 4 financial years, we recognize that there is an increasing trend in the data collection period. In average, 165 days have been taken to convert a credit sales to a cash. So this performance gap need to be minimized in order to mitigate liquidation and profitability issues which can be arise in the future. So we identified 6 sub-problems which affect this key problem, and I'll be discussing each 6 here. So the first sub-issue is increasing monthly unattended debtor follow-up. And second issue is increasing in return invoices with supporting errors. Here the supporting errors mean errors related to supporting documents, where when we are raising invoices, we take account the supporting documents such as call tickets and job card. When, for example, if the customers haven't approved the call ticket, ultimately the invoice get rejected because the customer hasn't accepted the cost. So these supporting documents need to be verified prior to invoicing process. So the next sub-issue is increasing customer complaints on unapproved additional installation charges. Here, the additional installation charges mean the additional cost you incur apart from the BOQ. So the customer need to approve these additional costs for us to invoice it. If we fail to get the approval for these additional costs, customer will keep delaying the payment process. And the fourth sub-issue was increasing customer complaints related to job incompletion, where the customer complains that the installation quality was not up to the customer expectation. For example, right after the installation, there can be water leak and some rattling sound, which reduces customer satisfaction. So we need to address this issue in order to increase the cash collection. Fifth sub-issue is underachievement of cash collection target. These cash collection targets was assigned on our sales representatives, and underachievement of cash collection target affect on the data collection. And our last sub-issue is increasing repetitive credit sales for long overdue customers, where our sales representatives tend to conduct credit sales in order to increase their sales commission, where they tend to do sales activities for risky customers, which will in the future will convert it to a bad debt. So these 6 issues were presented in a cause and effect diagram, where MBA knowledge supported us to dig down in each of these sub-issues and identify root causes, which I have highlighted in these circles. So next, let's see the theoretical background. So as per the empirical studies, we identified the empirical studies have proved that the increase in data collection period resulted mainly due to the loose credit policy, which ultimately affect on negatively affecting on the profitability of the organization in long run. So empirical studies prove that improvement of internal processes, job standardization, and regular monitoring and reviewing support us to improve our data management. So based on the literature review, we were able to demonstrate this study framework, which will be the base for our project implementation. Prior to the implementation phase, we need to set objectives. So key objective of this project is to reduce the data collection period from 165 days to 135 days by 31st December 2022. And we have set 6 sub-objectives. Along with that, we have mentioned the techniques which we will be using to address these sub-objectives. Let's discuss on the most important phase of this project, which is the implementation phase, where the MBA knowledge supported us to demonstrate and construct solutions effectively in order to mitigate this data collection period gap. So the first solution we implemented is development of the data follow-up system. Earlier, we used Excel sheet individually to update our follow-up status. But with the introduction of this data follow-up system, we were able to, as a department, interdepartmentally, we can update the follow-up statuses, and it increases the interdepartment visibility about the follow-up statuses. And this system was developed by an external system developer, where this system includes a summary of debtor aging, list of risky customers, and the detailed list of the credit transaction, as well as there's a special platform where all the members who are using the system to update the statuses of the each transaction, where we can get a lively update about the follow-up status. And this is time consuming and very critical solution we have implemented. As this has given the priority, we have started this from the beginning of the implementation phase. Next, we developed a SOP for data follow-up process, where in our company, we didn't have written manual where we always conducted our activities by practice, which has led to increase our deviations from the outcome, and also human errors has occurred a lot. So with the introduction of this data follow-up process, we were able to maintain the consistency in the process, as well as we were able to mitigate deviation that occurred due to change in employee. This shows the new process map we have developed for the data follow-up process. Third solution we have implemented was we reassigned the job duties and responsibilities of the sales team and the finance team. And as I mentioned earlier, the main duty of cash collection is with our sales representatives. So we had to officially inform them again in order to increase the cash collection process. And also, earlier, admin officer was engaged in follow-upping and coordinating the data follow-up activities due to inefficiency in finance team. So with this project, we were able to reassign the duties and responsibilities within the finance team and introduce a new role called data control officer. And we didn't hire any new employee. We used the existing employee who is much capable of handling data collection activities. So we introduced a data control officer as a result of this. And the fourth solution we implemented was we developed a credit approval procedure for sales orders. Our any sales representatives are willing to engage in credit sales activities in order to increase their sales. But in our company, because of this increasing data collection period, we introduced this credit approval procedure where sales representatives have to contact finance department as well in order to check the previous history of the customer prior to giving the credit sales. So sales representatives have to go through this process prior to conducting any credit sale. Fifth solution, we developed a SOP for sales invoicing process. As I mentioned earlier, in our company, we didn't have any written documents, and we had many issues related to for the invoicing process. When there are disputes in the invoicing process, this will lead to piled up our data outstanding balances. So with the introduction of SOP, we were able to streamline and maintain the consistency in the sales invoicing process as well. This is the process map we have developed for the sales invoicing process. Sixth solution we have developed is we developed a joint measurement form. I mentioned that there was a sub-issue related for rejecting unapproved additional costs. For that sub-issue, we introduced this solution where the installer need to obtain the customer approval for all the costs they have incurred. So based on that, we can raise the invoice and ask the customer to proceed with the payment without any dispute. Next, we introduced KPI for cash collection. In order to motivate our staff members, we in line with our job description, we assign them KPI, which has a direct link for increments and the bonuses in the future. Moving on, next is the restructuring the cash collection incentive and penalty scheme. When we are checking the incentive system, there was an unstructured incentive system where we introduced all the timeline and the criteria which the sales representatives need to achieve. And we introduced a penalty scheme where the sales representatives can avoid, minimize avoiding their not engaging in cash collection activities. So the last solution we developed was a checklist for supervisors to installation job completion, where the supervisor need to check the quality of the project. So these nine solutions supported immensely for the to achieve our project objective. And as a result, by 31st December 2022, we were able to reduce our data collection period from 165 days to 129 days, which is 102% of achievement from the target. And also from the other 6 sub-objectives, we were able to achieve 5 objectives, and we need to relook at the last objective, which is we were only able to achieve 84% of the target from the job completion target that we are working on it. And the main outcome of this project is we able to fasten our cash collection cycle, and also this immensely supported us to strengthen our ability to meet the import obligations. So this is our cost benefit analysis, where the tangible benefit was higher than our tangible cost, and we were able to develop intangible benefits as well. And recommendation, even though in our project we were able to achieve our key objective, we need to keep monitoring and reviewing these activities. Especially, we need to check whether these activities were practiced properly and consistently in the future as well. If there are any deviations, we need to take corrective actions and take necessary supporting actions as well. So this brings us to the end of my presentation. I would like to thank my supervisor, Dr. Sakuntala Dureratnam, for guiding me and supervising me throughout this project. And also I would like to thank all my supervisors, all my lecturers and friends for supporting me throughout this project. And finally, I would like to thank PIM for giving me the opportunity to present this project in front of you all. Thank you all. Over to you, Karan.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yerushi De Silva. Next, we have a presentation by Ms. Bhagya Senanayaka, Head of Marketing and Business Transformation at Saruk Enterprises Private Limited. And her presentation will be on Satera Pottery, a project on manufacturing and retailing terracotta lifestyle clay products. Satera Pottery, a project on manufacturing and retailing terracotta lifestyle clay products. Ms. Bhagya Senanayaka.
A very good evening to all of you. I'm Bhagya Senanayaka, here to present my entrepreneurial skills research project on the theme of Satera Pottery, which is a project that I did to manufacture and retail terracotta lifestyle clay products. So this is my outline for the day, which I'll be taking you all through the project which I did, how we did it, and where are we as of now. So Satera actually was born as an idea which emerged to me because I've been with this pottery industry with my family business that I've been in this industry for the past 3 decades. Sri Lankan pottery industry has been there since prehistoric period, but the development of this industry is at very minimal stage because the traditional potters in this industry are not willing to use new manufacturing technologies to bring out new clay products to the market. So I found this gap, and therefore I wanted to use the local talent and modern manufacturing methods to develop a brand which allows the consumers to consume a clay product that is of modern design and that supports their eco-consumerism approach. So we did a brief survey analysis to analyze what the consumers actually want when you say clay products. So we found out that actually they are willing to switch from their traditional plastic and aluminum non-clay materials to something made of clay. And also they're very much eco-conscious. And also they use at least one clay product at home. In this aspect, they're also looking at the convenience of using clay products and the affordability in terms of the price, and also the variety of options they have in terms of clay product. So here you can see a couple of items that they are interested in seeing in terms of clay. And also we conducted a brief players analysis of the market, and we found out that there are a couple of local and global ceramic and red clay players in the industry. And the market gap that we found out is that the people do not have access to quality clay products in the market. And also we encountered an import restriction in the year of 2021 and 22. Therefore, especially HoReCa channels, they could not access imported ceramics for their interior designing and for their requirements. So there was a gap prevailing in the market for the imported quality clay products. And also pottery industry, the experience people have to try this pottery is not at the required standard even up to date. So this gap was prevailing in the market, and that was what I wanted to fulfill from this project. Moving on. So we conducted a brief overview analysis of the industry. In fact, pottery fall onto the global handicraft industry. Global handicraft industry, of course, is bloom in and is expected to reach a figure of $1,092 by 2024 and also contribute 27.5% for world's GDP. The key interesting fact was that a lot of women are employed in this sector and it gives birth to a lot of women entrepreneurs. In terms of the Sri Lankan handicraft industry, actually this is pottery industry, figure of 1,495 families are dependent on this pottery industry, and also 2,000 craftsmen are registered as potters in Sri Lanka. This data was obtained by National Craft Council. So the literature review which I conducted for this project was conducted in the arenas of global and local pottery, earthenware, and ceramic and terracotta industry, and the differentiation between terracotta and ceramic, and the current issues that hinder the growth of traditional Sri Lankan potters, and also what are the substitutes clay products has, and what is the potential threat those substitutes create for clay products, and also how have clay products sales mediums evolved over the years. Moving on. So we conducted a business model based on Ash Myra's lean canvas. Therefore, the three main problems which we were trying to solve is actually the heavy usage of plastic products and the local restrictions placed on imports, and of course, the lack of quality innovation in the clay industry. And the unique value proposition that we wanted to solve from this project was give a modernized earthenware, which is of excellence. In fact, the unfair advantage which I had in conducting this project was the implicit knowledge which I've gained from my family business for the past 3 decades, because I've been with the pottery industry since my day one. I've been with the pottery industry, the technical, the knowledge was there with me. So I had the unfair advantage in conducting this project. And of course, our customer segments were pretty straightforward. We were looking at the corporate clients, the eco-conscious customers, and the tourists. And of course, since we wanted to give a product of high quality, we were targeting at a social economic classification of A and B who can actually afford our products. Moving on. So we conducted a brief feasibility analysis in the aspect of finance, technical, and marketing. In our financial feasibility, we found out that we need an investment of around 700,000 to start this project. This was possible because I was to rent space, machinery, tools, and other equipments from my family business from a facility that were not being used. And also, based on the payback period we conducted, the investment was to be recovered by 1 year and 2 months, and also start earning profit by November 2022 and reach a positive net profit margin by early 2023. And in moving on to the technical feasibility, all our materials, almost I would say 90% of our materials are sourced from local suppliers. And there are a couple of materials which we have to import, such as bowl clay, feldspar, those technical terms. But then all the machinery, space, tools, and infrastructure was to be obtained on rental basis from my family business and hire employees and obtain the legal approvals and start my project. So there are 3 main ways to manufacture clay products. So one particular way that you may have all seen is a traditional wheel throwing methods where they make the product from the pottery wheel. Then there's another way called jiggering method where they press the clay slab to a mold made out of plaster of Paris. And then there's another method called slip casting method where you make the clay in liquid form by using powdered clay, and then you pour that liquid clay into the molds made out of plaster of Paris and obtain the product. So that was the particular production method that I was going to use because it was more appropriate, feasible, and viable for this project. Moving on. So we conducted a brief 4Ps analysis because this was a manufacturing project to identify where we are going to target our product, price, place, and promotion. And then based on that, we did our ERRC grid to identify which elements we are going to eliminate, reduce, raise, and create. Out of which we developed a business strategy canvas. So this was to identify where Satra pottery actually lies. So it was identified that in terms of quality and durability, and also in terms of using newer manufacturing methods, Satra would score higher other than the traditional potters and other players in the market. Moving on. So our entry wedge was pretty straightforward because we were manufacturing a product that was already existing in the global and local market. Though local market, it's not of the same quality, though it's of a higher quality. The products, the clay products are already available in the market. But also the manufacturing technological capability is locally pioneering. So therefore, we were considered as an import substitution under the entry wedge. Moving on. So this was our WBS, work breakdown structure, which was classified according to the 5 main project management elements. Moving on. So this is the most interesting part, the execution of our project. So we registered our business as a sole proprietorship. And since our business was in clay, which is related to environment, we had to obtain the environmental authority clearance and of course our trade license. And our logo, in fact, Salruk is my family business and terracotta is the industry that I'm playing. So that's how Satera was born. And our vision and mission statement were built on the aspect that we want to give something for the audience and also support the eco-consumerism approach while uplifting the Sri Lankan terracotta industry. Moving on. So our execution, we started since we had strict timelines from PIM for the project. We started very early because we wanted to produce and we wanted to sell and earn revenue. So we started in the month of May, we started our designing, mold preparation, and thereafter we hired employees, the minimal employees that we need to manufacture. And then we started our revenue earning scheme by month of August. And also we obtained a workstation of 3,000 square foot on rental basis. And then we started with 20 new products as our product portfolio. However, as of now, we have expanded to quite a bit of range in terms of silverware, ornaments, customization, and also pottery workshops. We do a lot of customized, we do a lot of customized jobs for B2B clients, and pottery workshop is a very integral part of our business because we conduct a lot of kids and adult pottery workshops in terms with key clients such as Dilma and Odell. Moving on. So our sales and marketing strategy, we have a physical store back in Nangkotua where we conduct sales, and also our Facebook and Instagram pages. We increase our brand awareness also from our website. And our B2B clients, we have a couple of key B2B clients that give us repetitive orders. And we participate in pop-up markets to further enhance our brand and also involved in promotional activities to promote our brand. Moving on. So our very financial performance for the project period showed us that we earned total revenue of up to January about 895,000, which created a net profit of around 200,000 out of the project period. And this was our financial performance for the 31st December. Moving on. So the activity benefit cost proved to us that there are a lot of non-quantifiable benefits. However, when assessing the quantifiable benefit and cost, we gained a ratio of 0.8% in terms of activity benefit and cost ratio. As for any project, even Satera had a couple of major issues that we encountered. So one of the first major issues was the increases in production costs that we encountered as a manufacturing business, because Sri Lanka was going through a tough time economically and therefore the inflationary pressure. So for us to keep the production cost in control was a huge challenge. However, we managed with whatever the resources that was available. And also, once again, obtaining data about Sri Lankan pottery artisans was another challenge. In fact, the research about Sri Lankan pottery industry is very minimal, and also the access to such research is very minimal. However, since we had contacts with national government institutes, such as the Craft Council and Design Center, we managed to obtain their internal information to further verify my research so that I could give off something profitable for the academia. And also, business registration delay, I need to critically mention because I registered as a sole proprietorship and I spent a good 3 months in getting my business registration because I had to teach the government institutes how to get done a business registration procedure because that was very challenging. However, I managed to get it done finally. And also the production delays that we encountered due to weather condition was critical because clay is something that is severely impacted with weather. Because when it rains, you can't dry your molds, you can't dry your products. It's huge and critical. So in such cases, we have to use a dryer to dry our products. Also, since I was running on a lean startup model, I did not have an additional administrative support. So certain administrative tasks were on hold due to lack of support. So these are a couple of challenges that I've encountered in my project. And also moving on to the customer feedback, which is critical for any businesses and as for my project. So we obtain feedbacks after every workshop, after every business transaction we conduct with B2B and B2C clients, because these feedbacks keep us going, help us to learn what improvements we can do in terms of the business. Before I conclude, I would like to especially thank my project supervisor, Mr. Tarindu Amarasekar, who have been really supportive in my project journey, and also especially the PIM faculty members and my past lecturers who have given me the knowledge that unparalleled over my academic years. And also, this Satra pottery journey has been very crucial and a turning point in my life because it taught to me what entrepreneurship is like, what it's like to become an entrepreneur, and how it's different than a 9-to-5 corporate job. So you got to be available 24/7 when you are an entrepreneur, and it developed a different phase in my life. So thank you very much, and I'm very much thankful to PIMARC committee members as well for giving me this opportunity to present to you all my project once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bhagya Senanayaka. It's a delight indeed to see you and the journey you have come as well with Satera Pottery. Our final learning partners presentation for this evening is by none other than Ms. Shriyangani Dhanapala. Ms. Shriyangani Dhanapala is a Director of Brand Development for Cinnamon Hotels and an Assistant Vice President of the John Keells Holdings Group. And her project is on reducing the negative customer review volume in the food and beverages category of the Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts. Reducing the negative customer review volume in the food and beverages category of the Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts. Ms. Shriyangani Dhanapala.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to present in front of all of you. So as the topic says, my project, MFRB project, was around reducing the negative customer reviews, specifically on the food and beverage category of Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts. And the outline is the same as my other learning partners. A little bit of overview of who Cinnamon is. I think most of you know what Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts is. It's the largest hotel company in Sri Lanka, and it's managed by Cinnamon Hotel Management Limited, which is where I am attached to. We have over 2,500 room keys currently in our portfolio, and we are planning to expand another 1,000 keys by next year. And we have over 3,600 employees across our chain. And our key markets are similar to the key markets that Sri Lanka draws because we are the largest player in the hospitality sector. Going into the key problem that our organization faced is the negative reviews that we have been accumulating for every financial year, and we keenly look at this. And to look at this, we use an AI software called Review Pro, which actually makes our life very easier because it looks at the negative reviews as well as the sentiments that are around. And when you drill down and see what are the key contributors that are contributing for the negative customer reviews, food and beverage category stood out in 32%, which kind of streamlined my focus area for the MFRP project. Drilling down to the problem, which are like, who are the main contributors for these negative customer reviews? Quality stood out as one of the key areas, where 33% of sentiments. So negative customer reviews, they are broken into the review as well as the sentiments, which can be positive, negative, or neutral. 33% of it were pertaining to quality, and this was analyzed through the same AI software that we use through its features. Process management, of course, F&B of food and beverages is a very technical subject area, which is not everybody's cup of tea in the hospitality industry. And there are multiple processes within it. And for Cinnamon specifically, the cost allocations were a problem area that had many ripple effect into the other departments as well. And the trend that you're seeing is how we have managed the cost and how we have allocated the costs as well. And this was like an inherent problem. I think after the project, we were able to make some revisions as well as a part of the project. And then lastly, the service aspect, which is the most sensitive part when it comes to the customer on the service experience with food and beverage. And when you drill down, I understood that the training hours that our employees have gone through have not been met, which is one of the reasons that service delivery has become a little bit of a problematic area. So significant of the project is, of course, out of like closer to 30,000 reviews that on average we receive for a year, and when convert this into sentiments, that means what are the customer emotions behind it? It is around 110,000 sentiments that we get. And 7% of it is negative customer reviews. And when you look at the sentiments inside these negative customer reviews, it accounts into 16%, which is a substantial number. So 32% of it is contributed by F&B. And this is linked. This is the key KPI that the company looks at, which is the GRI and the CQI. This is Global Review Index. That means against your competition and against your rates, how are you performing? The GRI score and the Global Competitive Index. So these indexes are also getting impacted by the negative customer reviews that we receive. And ultimately, our revenue also has an impact around it. And it is proven by research as well. So this entire problem in a nutshell, looking at the root cause analysis, as you can see, each of the areas are identified and the solutions were developed to address whatever that was possible within a course period of an year. And some of the larger solutions that the organization requires were kept as out of scope. Going into the theoretical background, there was a lot of literature that says that customer reviews are very important for the brand reputation of any organization, and specifically for a service-related organization like hotels, and out of which food and beverage were ranked among the top 3. So this has a partial impact on your revenue and as well as your customer satisfaction. In terms of quality, also delivering consistency was a key area that was identified through literature. And in terms of process management, it does state that food and beverage is a very technical area. There's a plethora of processes that are within it. And of course, the areas that I identified for cinnamon was also within these processes, which says that managing the cost and the efficiencies around it is a critical factor. And of course, in terms of service, the speed, friendliness, and the quality of service were the important areas that I have highlighted here. And the study framework was, of course, built around these 3 critical areas. The key objective of the project was, of course, we had 32% of negative customer reviews, and through the solutions that were proposed, those negative customer reviews were anticipated to be brought down to 5%. And the techniques are used for each and every problematic or project objective area as stated here. So going on to the solutions around quality. And this was one of the substantial areas that was developed, although it was not implemented. We took a substantial time, and few of my colleagues also aided me to develop this, which was a brand quality standard for food and beverage. We do currently have a brand quality standard, which was developed a couple of years ago, and the industry has evolved quite a bit. And of course, we see certain trends and minimum expectations of the customer was not assessed. And of course, we have to be careful on what the competition also does. And we need to be sensitive of what the cost indications are also. So there was a thorough exercise where a gap analysis was done. This was purely through the help of the MBA that we received to do a gap analysis and look at a competitor analysis on what they are doing and find a merged solution on what is best for cinnamon. So a detailed brand standard was developed as an upgradation of what the company practices currently. Second one was to look at taste panels, because this again around quality is a key area, and taste panels so far in the organization was a very subjective matter based on the executive chef's experience. So when you don't have a consistent way of dealing with taste panels and what sort of documentation you maintain behind it, it becomes a very subjective matter. And the consistency again gets questioned. And of course, this links to the service delivery also. Because if you are not doing service taste panels, the employees also don't know what the quality is. So a detailed taste panel format was introduced, and this is currently being practiced as well. I'm happy to say after a year of completing the project, this is being practiced by the organization currently. And of course, the next one is about menu planning. Again, another problematic area on how to solve this, because again, you have to be very ahead of the curve to do menu planning very efficiently. You have to look at your customer pool properly, and you need to have an established protocol on when and how and who will do menu planning. So the organization at that point when I was developing the project didn't have any protocol for menu planning, and there was no clarity established. So there was some gray spot there. So there was a detailed menu planning and menu rotation guideline that was developed. Again, this is also kept in place in the organization, because these are good practices to follow that resonates quality of the final delivery that we have with food and beverages. And of course, another big area was the communication part, where how much do our employees know about what the organization policies and procedures are there. And we are talking about a very large portion of our employees getting engaged with the food and beverage operation. And of course, from Easter attacks, we have been having the challenge of high turnover in the organization. So many people don't retain, and we need to have that constant communication around the employees to make them aware of the bare basics or the minimum expectations that the company has. And this has to be done in a very creative format. So there was a detailed communication plan and an assessment made on to deploy an F&B specific internal communication plan. Moving on to process management, another sophisticated area for this exercise was to look at our current allocations and then look at what the industry allocations are in terms of our competitors. So we had to use our own networks to obtain this information, because this is not a published piece of information. This is very confidential to each and every company. So I had to get the help of our general managers in our regions and then look at how can we improve our cost allocation, because the allocation that you give for the food and beverage division, you need to decide on what's the cost percentage that you would allow the operations team to use. Balance becomes a profit to the company. And at this point, when I was doing the project, it was F&B was a cost center, not a profit center. Although we were making money, it was identified as a cost center. So this plan that was created in terms of cost allocations was to drive the average room rate also along with it, to make the food and beverage division into a profit center. And then again, menu planning in terms of process management overlapped as another solution. This is a part of quality as well as the process management part as well. It's the same solution, menu planning guideline. And then another area to look at, again, using creativity for process management, is to look at how we use our layouts. Within our buffet setup, especially because that's where the mass customers come in. And if you're not creative and smart enough, there are a few limitations that the customers as well as the employees would face. If you have a smart layout, one thing, the customer satisfaction is going to be high. And if you have a smart layout, you would most likely not have much of wasted, and you will utilize whatever the resources that you have very wisely. For an example, using Action Live stations has a big pleasing amount of customer satisfaction, as well as customers will only take what you need. So moving away from the Schaefer culture, which everybody knows if somebody has gone into a 5-star hotel, to smaller batch cooking and live demonstrations was another big recommendation. And of course, this is still work in process, but as of now, I see a lot of progress because there has been a deliberate conversation around this. So the layout that you see here is for one of our hotels at Lodge, which I worked around with the team on how we can improve the layout. And then next one is on service delivery, where the training need analysis for food and beverage team was a specific requirement that needs to get drawn. And there was a lot of discussion with our learning and development vice president and the director who was in charge to create a specific program specifically targeting the food and beverage heads as well as the junior staff, on what are like the mandatory trainings that they have to go through. So this is like again, this is a solution that was developed to do a proper TNAs focused on the F&B team, which again gets mishandled. If you look at doing trainings, the TNA is usually done for all the departments. And sometimes the L&D managers have that overlook, thinking every training is applicable for everybody. So again, since F&B is a technical area, it was looked in as that specific requirement. So this is the TNA that was done. And another interesting engagement, this doesn't have cost at all, is to create a culinary forum among the hotels to create some conversation around what sort of innovation and creativity that you do. And of course, we have about 300 trainees that are in the food and beverage division. I think the number is going up as we speak. So a trainee ready program was developed where for 3 months, every trainee has to go through this program to ensure that they have the bare minimum knowledge before they enter into the market. So the outputs and outcomes projected are, as you can see, are listed here, which is to bring down the negative customer reviews as well as address the areas that were pertaining to quality and service that was there. But all in all, the two main areas that provides outcome is to give clarity to our employees on what these standards are, what the delivery expectations are, and what is the impact of having negative customer reviews to the business, as well as maintain a financially profitable operation altogether. And lastly, customer satisfaction. So the outputs and outcomes are covering those areas, and consistency and basic errors to eliminate those, because these are hygienic things to make sure that we don't make any hygienic errors in the offering that we are doing. So the cost benefit, when you look at this, was built up in the perspective of the management company, which I am attached to. The cost benefit ratio came up to 16.55, looking at the incremental revenue for the management team. And of course, continuation of this, there has to be a lot of anchoring by the senior management and commitment to deliver in the long run. And of course, there has to be incentives and carrots that you need to give to your employees to make sure that there is buying in to what the organization desires to deliver in this area. And of course, the managing the project, there are few stakeholders, myself being one, and the Vice President of Learning and Development, and representation from the marketing team in terms of communication. And of course, our general managers, which are like the torch holders for this entire operation, were identified with a rollout period of 1 year. And the skills that were gained through this, of course, the conceptual ones were to look at a problem very objectively. I think my supervisor, Dr. Asanga and Dr. Samantha, helped me out a lot in this. There was a lot of discussion, and then deboning and diagnosing a problem, and looking at what's the long-term benefit as well. You have to assess. So that was also done. Interpersonal, of course, there was a lot of teamwork. I have to give thanks to my team members at Cinnamon, gave a lot of input and technical expertise that they had. And of course, persuasion and negotiation was also a part to see whether these solutions are actionable. And then teamwork. In terms of technical knowledge, it was project management, root cause analysis, and data and gap analysis. So that concludes my presentation. I would like to thank everybody, every team member at PIM for giving me this opportunity, and it has been a wonderful journey, and I'm honored to be a part of this.
I believe our three presenters deserve another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for their significant contribution towards the research development in PIM as well as in the general Sri Lankan academia. Next, we move on into the panel discussion. And let me first introduce the moderator, who is none other than Senior Professor Ajantha Dharmasiri. Senior Professor Ajantha Dharmasiri has a rare combination of being a chartered manager, chartered HR professional, and a chartered electrical engineer. And he's an acclaimed conference speaker, trainer, as well as a strategy consultant and an academic as well. He was the former director of PIM, and he is also an adjunct professor at the Price College of Business, University of Oklahoma. And he was also the editor of the pioneering Sri Lankan Journal of Management, as well as being a postdoctoral fellow and a doctoral fellow of multiple missions and organizations, including AMTISA and the Fulbright, as well as the Commonwealth. He's currently the president of the Chartered Management Institute of UK Sri Lanka chapter, with a wide network including Hong Kong, Singapore, and Malaysia. We also have with us Mr. Ramesh Dasanayake, who is a well-known industry professional and an expert in travel, tourism, and hospitality with over 3 decades of expertise. He's a successful entrepreneur and is the founder and chairman, managing director of Sunway Group of Companies. His wide international travel experiences strengthens his knowledge and exposure, and he is currently reading for his doctorate as well. And he holds an MBA from PIM, as well as a postgraduate degree in planning and management from Cyprus Institute of Marketing. He's a fellow member of the Chartered Management Institute UK and the Institute of Hospitality of UK, as well as ABE UK. And currently he is the president of the PIM Alumni Association. We also have the next panelist, who is Dr. Ravi Bamunusinghe, founder of the SLSME, Sri Lanka Small and Medium Enterprise, and operates as a business advisor, coach, and a visiting faculty of PIM, and someone who has commenced lecturing after 3 decades of industry exposure in business research and consultancy. He is also responsible for initiating multiple different business research agencies, which are catering to local, international, and multinational companies, providing strategic direction as well as brand positioning guidance. He is a founder member of the CIM UK Sri Lanka chapter, and he was the past president of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, Social Science, and has held multiple honorary positions in different professional bodies. His doctorate is dedicated on enabling growth of SMEs, business modeling, and entrepreneurship, which he has obtained from the Malaysia University of Science and Technology. We also have another panelist, Ms. Kamalini Ellavala. Ms. Kamalini is the Senior Manager for Sustainability, Women Banking, and CSR at Commercial Bank of Ceylon, someone who works very closely with PIM in empowering the rural entrepreneurship communities. She is also the coordinator of the Commercial Bank's Corporate Social Responsibility Trust, a lawyer by profession, and holds an MBA from the University of Colombo. She has also a postgraduate diploma in international relations from the Bandaranayake Center of International Studies and a Bachelor of Arts from the University of Colombo. She possesses a wide experience in the banking sector, having been with Commercial Bank for the past 19 years. Joining as a management trainee, and she has been in mainstream banking for 8 years and 7 years in human resource management prior to her present position since January 2020. So with that introductions, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have a very distinguished and esteemed panel who is very well positioned to discuss some of these findings of the research and to take you through the next 45 minutes with a very insightful panel discussion. Please give a big round of applause to the panelists, Dr. Ravi Bamanusinha, Mr. Ramesh Dasanayaka, and also Ms. Kamalini Ellavala, and our moderator, Senior Professor Ajanta Dharmasingh. Professor, over to you.
Thank you, Taridu. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to be the moderator of the panel discussion, which is the second part of industry dialogue, which is a part of the larger experience of PIMARC 2023, with the apt theme, Research for Value Creation in Organizations. So I was so impressed by listening to the three wonderful ladies who were presenting three different vistas, I would say, with regard to the reach that we can go with the research. So it is a journey talking about air conditioning repairs, issues involved, and then the pottery, which is very creative, and also customer satisfaction can be a thorn issue. So I think Yenushi, Bhagyan, Shirangani, I think they deserve another big round of applause for everyone. And I think they proved the point that we were talking about throughout the day from the inauguration. Research is not for the sake of research. Research is for the benefit of the humanity at large and societal upliftment, primarily through a value creation in organizations. If you look at the value creation, it can happen in many ways. It can be people, process, product, practices, platforms, procedures, and so on and so forth. So I would summarize that into 4 S's. Strategic competencies. You uplift, you upskill, and you upgrade people with the right knowledge, right skills, and right attitude. So that is strategic competency. And it can also be streamlined processes. You ensure that the processes are consistently happening, as we saw in those wonderful research presentations. You need to ensure consistency, accuracy, transparency, predictability. And then you need to have satisfied customers, obviously. Customers bring the revenue, and you need to ensure that you have satisfied customers. The third S. And the final S is sustained financials. We need to ensure the sustainability with regard to your financial revenue, steady revenue growth. So with strategic competencies, streamlined processes, satisfied customers, sustained financials. They represent the 4 dimensions of a balanced scorecard, 4 perspectives of a balanced scorecard in creating value in multiple dimensions. So my role today is much relieved because I'm not to give a talk. I'm here to just pass the questions to you and tax your expertise. So I'm the most relaxed and relieved because the burden is for you all. And then I will just pass the questions and ask questions, and I can even make your life merry or misery. So the whole idea is to capture the wealth of expertise that 3 of you all represent in representing 3 different industries. So I would structure the industry dialogue for the next half an hour or so into 3 rounds. In round 1, I'll invite one by one each of them to share their own ideas about how research can help their relevant industry. And in round 2, we will ask some questions. And round 3 is some passing comments and some advice for future research. So let me begin with round 1. They say ladies first. So Kamalini, with your veteran banking experience and being in a wider array of sustainability, women banking in the largest commercial bank in Sri Lanka, where they talk about our partner in progress. So you had been partnering customers for their progress. How research has helped banking industry in general?
Yes, thank you, Professor. And also thank you, PIM, for inviting me. And to talk about how research helps the banking industry. Yes, research is part and parcel of our operation. It is a day-to-day phenomena of the banking industry, I would say. And why I would say that is banking is a very risk-conscious industry. So where we are always conscious about the risk that we are open to. And that not only the risk of our operation, but also the risks that are faced by our customers. We are looking at that as well. So in a context like that, in risk management, taking informed decisions is what we are always there for. And in that context, research is our day-to-day phenomena. And also, we are accountable, we are responsible for other people's money. So in that context also, maintaining transparency, maintaining upholding the trust and confidence the customers have placed in us, all these things are our core values. So in that context, research is a day-to-day phenomena in our operation. And thirdly, banking is a highly regulated industry. So in that context also, we have to be mindful, we have to be aware, we have to study and understand the laws and regulations of the country, of the industry, so that in compliance with all these things only we can take the business forward. So that will be our business taking forward mechanism. And apart from those 3 areas, risk management as well as the investment decisions, and also if we are lending money, that is other people's money that we will be lending. It is other people's money that we will be investing. So taking transparent decisions, in well-informed decisions, and also having a kind of how I would put it across, a scientific approach in all our decisions helps us to uphold our core values as well as maintaining transparency and also trust and confidence of our customers. So in that context, I mean, apart from that, the strategic management, HR management, and even operations management in all these areas also, yes, research is part and parcel. And here, when I say research, it might not be the full research that as academics would be talking about with all the technicalities, but it is I would say research in our own little world of research. that is a study that we would carry out. And also being bankers, we cannot compromise the customer information at any cost. So in that context, getting the service of external organizations, external researchers to carry out the research that is needed for us is not a free flowing thing for us. So therefore, we have our research and development unit in our bank, and also we have the data analytics people, and also we have the IT research and development, who's always looking at the IT systems and then the processes that the bank has to have in serving the customers. So likewise, but however, the market researchers as well as the customer satisfaction researchers, all these things we go to external parties. But other than that, everything else in a banking perspective will be done in-house. So I would reiterate, research is part and parcel, and maintaining the confidence that the customers have placed in us, upholding that is a key part that bank is always conscious of. Thanks.
Thank you, Kamal. In fact, it reminds me, some time ago, there was a magazine called Economic Review or Arthika Vimusuma, published by People's Bank. So they were very much into economic related research. There was a separate division, separate editor, and separate team. So that's where the real attention was paid for publication with regard to research. So with that, let me turn to Ramesh. He wears two hats. The one is the PIMARC president, represent the largest MBA alumni in Sri Lanka with 3,000 plus senior managers and leaders. And also the other hat is being a leader of a hospitality related organization dealing with tourism. So if you look at from both angles, one from hospitality per se, and then from the larger business segment, how would you relate research to the industry?
Well, research is a very important assessment tool for any industry, any business, whether it's service or otherwise. With proper research data, companies, organizations can make vital decisions on behavioral patterns, flaws, opportunities, lapses, and make their improvements, plus innovations. So at the same time, research, just for the sake of a research, is also not going to help you. It might give you the wrong data, which may lead you to make the wrong decisions. It matters, with all due respect, it matters at which level the research is made, because certain researches are made at diploma levels, advanced diploma levels, graduate levels, postgraduate levels, like that. So representing PIMA and being an MBA graduate from the Postgraduate Institute of Management, I'm quite sure and I'm very confident that PIM's research gives very accurate information, data for any industry or service to go forward. Taking tourism industry or the hospitality industry, it's also, if you take Sri Lanka, it's a very important industry. And I'm happy that there was a colleague who has done a research on service quality of cinnamon hotels. Our customers come from world over, from different parts of the world. And also their age groups, their expectations, everything are very different to each other. So it's an area, whether it's holiday, hospitality, where you have to cater to a very vast segment. It's not a narrow down customer base that you have. You have to make sure and satisfy everybody. And also at the same time, it's an area where you can, with today's technology, where you can, if you make the slightest mistake, you can have your downturn. Things will go viral and you will lose your business. So it's very important to find out the flaws, the improvements, what the customer expectations, and also to maintain a high level of customer satisfaction. whether it's in the hotel industry or travel industry, making holidays for others. Research helps a lot. Well, fortunately, for bigger companies, bigger conglomerates who can afford to, there is AI-based software which can be used today, which will make smarter decisions, guide you well, and help you. So research in any industry, whether it's production, finance, or service, is a very vital factor. And application based on the conclusions, that applications, acceptance and applying those into your business areas, making proper decisions is very important. And also, as I said before, those conclusions, those research findings should be from reputed and accepted universities. Otherwise, you can even make the wrong decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramesh. In fact, you mentioned something very interesting where the accuracy of the findings, in fact, the validity and acceptance of the findings. Otherwise, the wrong research might lead to a wrong decision, because we need to have the data-driven decisions, information-based decisions. The accuracy plays a key role. So we will come back to explore that further in the second round. So may I turn to my friend, Dr. Ravi Baman. He also interestingly wears two hats. So apparently a lot of people wear two hats. So he was the director of one of the leading research or the market research firms in Sri Lanka, perhaps the pioneering market research firms in Sri Lanka. And then now he is more relaxed and spending time in small and medium scale enterprises, upskilling them, sharing his expertise, and his PhD was all to do with small and medium scale enterprise and so on. So how do you relate, Ravi, research into small and medium scale enterprise?
Before that, I would like to say that I love the word research, because for more than 3 decades, Professor, my livelihood was research. So that made me quite a big, reasonable income, and for me to live modestly today. I'm thankful to the word research in that light. And then again, I would say the research is we have to be very kind of mindful about how we look at research. There's an old saying in research, which I can say, "Dana giyot katara gama, nodana giyot atara maga." So that is the kind of a fundamental of research that we need to look at it. So if you are, because research will give you a foresight, and with that foresight, you can make decisions. I'm even more happier later. I think I would say Steve Jobs' comment about research in a very interesting way, Professor. What he said was, research is all about connecting the dots in the past for us to hope that it will connect in the future. So I think that phenomena is very important for us in understanding the research in that light. Why so? Now, research is all about, we are trying to understand the past and then kind of forecast the certain behaviors in the future. So that is the kind of things that I think we need to be masterful. If you do that only, you will be successful. There we see, I'm Professor taking a little bit ahead that because I need to comment this. With my more than 3 decades of experience, what I realized is we have overexploited research, and it has been aggravated because we have data in abundance. Data in abundance is detrimental for us in that late, because therefore we need to have a clarity in using research more sensibly. That is where I'm coming into the SMEs. When it comes to SMEs, my feeling is their interest on research is almost zero, I would say. That is a pathetic situation. Actually, tomorrow with Kamalini, we are doing a workshop to develop certain aspects. So therefore, it's very interesting that we need to make them to be more mindful and use the research more wisely. The research today, SME is not bothered about even to do a competitor analysis or to do a product positioning, to do research, to do a product positioning, or to identify the value that they can create to the customer. They don't have any idea of that nature. Now, that is, I think, starting point. I think we have a Herculean task with regard to SMEs, Professor, to change that mindset. What they do is they follow the leader and make him about 5 to 10 rupees less than the leader, even though they may have a better product if they carried out a research and they can identify it. So that aspect, I think, is a very important part. I think we need to look at it. I think that is the kind of development area that I think we need to think in the future. In my next round, I'm going to talk about a bit more, Professor. Now, over to you.
Thank you, Ravi. In fact, he mentioned about having data is not sufficient. Sometimes you might have data and big data, you do analysis, and end up having analysis paralysis. So it's how wisely you select the data, vital few, separate from trivial many, and then use them to take the right decision. So coming back in asking a probing question, Kamalini, you are having a very interesting range of responsibilities, let's say sustainability, women banking, and we have 52% of the population who are women, and you do a lot of work with women with regard to women empowerment. So any particular research insight that you would like to share where it led for you to take a better decision, a better way of designing one of your initiatives? How research helped you to do a better women banking?
Yes. Professor, as I mentioned earlier, it is a scientific approach that we take in the bank, any new initiative that we will be taking. So in this starting women banking also, actually it is a IFC project that we collaborated with. So IFC was giving the expertise in that sense, and to that also selecting IFC as the expert partner. That was also because IFC is one of our shareholders as well, and also IFC we have been having a work experience with IFC for the past few decades. So with that experience, we were selecting. We were confident that we were selecting the best expert in that area, and also talking about research, IFC came with their expertise experience in other countries. So there were research already that were globally done, and there were research already that IFC had done in the country also. And as you mentioned, so 52% of the population, out of which only 16% banking in the banking, informal financing, obtaining formal financing, whereas the rest of opportunity lied for us to extend our financing to the rest of the people. So in that sense, it was a research that instigated us. It was the data that instigated us to embark into women banking. And in that also, research also helped us as to what services we are to provide to this particular market segment. So in that, talking about financial products, any bank, any financial institution would be offering the same product. So we were looking for a differentiator. So when research showed us, the differentiator would be the non-financial services. So in that context also, that is where our collaboration with PIM also comes in. The capacity building, the women, what they really wanted was the insights, how they are to manage their finances, how they are to find their markets, how they are to, build up their supply chain. So in that context also, we went into more, our focus was more into providing non-financial services, because we knew that the moment we introduce a new product, tomorrow it will be replicated by our competitor. So the competitive advantage for us is in providing non-financial services. So all these insights, all these decisions that bank took were based on the research and also based on the expert service that we got from IFC. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. In fact, research reflecting the reality and the reach through right decisions with regard to research. So coming back to you, Ramesh, let's concentrate on the PIMA leadership. We say nation's thought leaders, and you represent the elite community in the society in the past 36 plus years of PIM existence. We have produced 360 plus top leaders and so on and so forth. So many many accolades or other many success stories about leaders. So as nations thought leader, how do you see the relevance of research? How research can help them to become even better CEOs or better leaders?
I think I did not go out of this room, out of these four walls to prove that. I have three of my colleagues here who showed their competencies and their research projects to you all. Taking the air conditioning industry and their family business. It's your father's business, right? So it has been running for he's there. And it's your business. You have been running the business well for a number of years. I'm sure as an entrepreneur myself, here is now the second generation or the later generations, your daughter coming into the business, the gaps that she has identified, the improvements she's going to make. And now this is from a particular, this is because of the MBA at PIM, one particular area of cash flow. But there could be other areas also, which I'm sure she will gradually go into. Maybe in the operations, administration, selling, sourcing, and all those. So that's an area, Professor, where we see a proper development. Going into the second lady, now, coming from the family business, she stemmed out to be an entrepreneur and started her own, improving from what her parents have been doing. It's also another example within these four walls. Going into the other lady. Now, the previous two ladies, they have done more for their own business interest. But this third lady has done it not mainly for a monetary gain, but due to the commitment, love that she has for the organization. And I know, Cinnamon, it's not easy for somebody to come up with an idea, get your superiors to buy the idea, and get the others to coordinate and cooperate, pursue with it. There are different corporate reasons for that, which you will be knowing, I don't want to mention. But still, you have proved that point to your superiors. And in a highly competitive industry, you are going to bring results to your organization. So I think these three ladies are a good example for the question you asked.
And in fact, if you go beyond the four walls, you can see many PIM MBAs are doing wonderfully well in the market and then using research for their decision making. I can mention many CEOs in many corporates, isn't it? And they are, some of them are in your EXCO as well. So coming back to Dr. Ravi, and he plays yet another hat now in teaching research for the MBAs and of course for the DBAs of late. And then we are very happy to say that PIM faculty is a bunch of academics, practitioner turned academics, and starting with Dr. A.K.L. Javadana, who is always in the back scene. He was the general manager of Ceylon Cotton Mills. Am I correct, sir? And then leaving a lucrative private sector CEO position, he came to PIM and became a researcher and went to Australia and strengthened his research skills there as well. Now he's a Australian National University adjunct research fellow. So like that, we have this uniqueness where we bring the practical dimensions into research. And when I have asked many a time in the final Viva Voce presentations, when they present something, so what? So what next? There is not just analysis. They have to take it beyond the practical relevance, practical application. I'll give you one simple example. Once there was a research done on banking sector with a lot of analytical rigor, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, all were there. And then a lot of numbers. And then there were some conclusions. I asked a question from that researcher. Say, tomorrow you are invited by CEO of commercial bank to come and address the commercial bank board. So what are the three main implications that that your research has found, which has some relevance to a commercial bank? The person got stuck. Because I blame ourselves. We have not trained them to go beyond the analysis. We have to go beyond analysis in finding proper implications. So I think managerial implications is an absolute must. Now we insist that it is not just theoretical implications, equally important managerial implications. So with that sense, let me ask from Ravi to continue his sharing with regard to how research is relevant to industry. Now you can talk about your teaching experience, your business exposure, and many other vistas. Over to you.
Thank you, Professor, for that question. Actually, I would like to comment about this in this way. If you look at, I like the Harvard definition of entrepreneurship. It was done by Stephen. Stephen says entrepreneurship is all about pursuit of opportunities beyond resources you currently control. I'm very fascinated with that definition, pursuit of opportunities beyond resources you currently control. This is differentiate a regular manager to an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur. Because entrepreneur doesn't have resources given on a plate. He has to create resources. In terms of creating resources, you need to have certain insightful ideas. Therefore, you need to have insightful ideas. Therefore, you need to do either formal or informal research, and then only you can come out with it. That is the most important part. Taking that to these three ladies, actually, I think PIM facilitated for them to their final dissertation to do a research. So that has helped them to, now there are two ladies are second generation entrepreneurs, and there's another lady who is a corporate, but you are looking at a more entrepreneurial mindset. So today, what we need in terms of research development is for people to be more entrepreneurial or entrepreneurial mindset, where you should be able to manage resources more innovatively, and then only you can make use of the advantage. If you don't have that, I like always the Austrian philosopher Karl Popper. Karl Popper says very interesting comment. He says you need to be a black swan. So if you are a black swan in an organization, that means you are different to the others. How can you be different to the others? For that, you need to have a research-driven understanding and insights that you are driving it to make things differently. In an organization, Shirangani, you may have at your level hundreds of people. Now, you need to find a way to be a black swan in your organization. If you are a black swan, you are going to create value to your organization in that sense. I hope you understand what I'm doing. In the same way, these two, Bhagya and Yerushi, you are creating second generation entrepreneurship, then you are going to do that differentiation into yourself. If you do that, then only you have a greater understanding, and then you will make a difference. So otherwise, what happens is we are just another in a bunch of large audience. I don't think that should be the case. We all should be the kind of a black swan in our organization. I think we have another round, Professor. So I'll leave it at this, then I'll make a comment on and in other round. Thank you, Professor.
Interesting. Ravi talking about the black swan. They say research is to see like everyone else, but to think someone completely different. So that's where the black swan, or even Edward de Bono calls it black hat approach, coming with a completely different perspective. And that is where sometimes we sadly lack. We all say, yes, sir, 3 bags full, and we don't think differently. And unless we think differently, we can't achieve different results. We will be having the same approach over and over again, and we will get stagnated, we'll get stuck. So it reminds me what Aldous Huxley said. I don't know whether he has anything to do with Huxley's vintage, you know. He's a British philosopher. He said, at the end of the day, what matters is not how much you know, but how much you have done. So knowing should lead to doing. Doing should produce expected value. It should produce expected results. So knowing, doing, nexus is what we are trying to establish through industry dialogue. So what you know, you should not keep it to yourself and to have your ego boosting. It should be connected. It should be shared. It should be applied, as Dr. Samantha Ratnayaka very correctly said, the knowledge translation into industry. So we are coming to the final round. This is just one sentence observation or one sentence comment or one sentence suggestion for upcoming researchers, emerging researchers. I see a lot of them connected via online through a Zoom platform. So thank you very much for the research-minded community who are with us right now. We see physical and virtual presence here today for the industry forum. So as industry veterans, so what is your one sentence advice? Let's start with Kamalini.
Well, I might not call this advice, but industry must listen to research, and research also in turn must listen to industry. So in that sense, industry should drive research so that in that context, it will help them to remain competitive and be successful and also sustainable. And on the other side, research must understand the big picture, and then only they will be able to narrow it down really, and then to select a focused kind of a problem statement, and then only they will be able to really dive deep and then to come out with whatever the research outcome, which will be sellable, easily sellable. So what we are talking about is commercializing the research. It will be easily commercialized if we understand the big picture, really narrow it down and really focus, and then it will create value for both parties, for industry as well as for research. And then only the harmony, the coherent would come in, and then both would move forward, would be able to move forward, creating value for each other. Thank you.
I think that's a very valuable advice to all of us. Over to you, Ramesh. Same question.
Yeah, from a PIMA points of view, which I represent here, PIMA stems out from the PIM. PIM graduates become automatically PIMA members, and our membership in the industry, corporates, and in the government sector holding senior positions is over 6,500 to date. And I'm very proud of the quality of the research that my members, they are our members now. The quality of the research our members have made, I'm very happy and proud of them. I congratulate them on behalf of PIMA. And I'm very thankful to my alma mater, PIM, for facilitating this type of quality researchers, which will undoubtedly help our country, our nation to improve better, and our industries and our entrepreneurs to make better decisions.
Thank you, Ramesh. In fact, we need the right quality ones. Someone said we had a sample, 50% male, 50% female, and I asked, what is the size of the sample? The person said 2, only 1 person, 1 boy and 1 girl. So you can't do that. You don't have the right quality in action. So that's extremely important. Finally, to Ravi.
Actually, Professor, we at PIM, we facilitate research to cohort of learning partners. I believe that's very important. And I think we need to further strengthen our research facilitation. Why so? Because through them, we create value to the respective organizations that they work for. So then I think that's very important, because if they create value to their respective organizations, only our existence will be noted. Sometimes I may be wondering who would be the kind of our primary target group as an educational organization. Is it our employer of these learning partners or learning partners per se? Sometimes I feel I think we need to focus on the employers of our learning partners and create value to their organization through the learning partners of this caliber. If they do so, I think we have a very beautiful positioning. Why so? Then they will be asked for, they will request graduates of our learning partners. That if that mechanism works, I think we are in a very beautiful positioning where our learning partners are the means of creating value of the respective organizations. I hope that in time to come, if we create that environment, I think we will be one of the best brands like Harvard, Oxford, or all. My dream is, I think, maybe something like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi. In fact, I have heard from my own ears that CEOs are saying they see a difference in a PIM MBA versus another MBA. Sorry, Kamalini, to say this. Where they see our PIM MBAs know how to analyze the problem differently and their approach is different. And that's why we call it a premier prestigious MBA. So I wish if Dr. Asangaran Singh was here because he's the MBA coordinator. And we have started the DBA program as well, where we further emphasize beyond MBA, that's the Doctor of Business Administration, and all the virtually connected and physically present participants can think about how to pursue your future research endeavors. So you need to have a richness, rigor, and the relevance. So you need to have the richness in terms of right quality and the rigor with regard to the effort you put and the relevance with regard to addressing some socio-cultural issues of Sri Lanka. And as I mentioned in the morning, what Kurt Levin said, research, there's no research without action. There's no action without research. So with that pleasant thought, let me recognize the presence of Dr. Senaka Kalum Gamage, our director of PIM, and then Professor Vijayaratna, who helped to recognize the research dimensions in different streams that we offer as a final year project, and many other contributors. I can say the senior assistant registrar, who has been a live wire in all these endeavors, and many other committed PIM members. I think we all have one common aspiration to make research towards value creation of PIM community and their employers and the society at large, and Sri Lanka, our motherland, to be a better uplifting country. And they say a developed country in 2048, just adding 100 years to the year that we got independent, that is 1948. So the whole aspiration is let research contribute to the development, and let's contribute to research in becoming partners of that developmental journey. So with that, let me thank once again for the three wonderful panelists who added a lot of value with their expertise, and also the three presenters who really inspired us, and to Dr. Samantha for orchestrating, putting everything together. And let me say thank you and hand over to the compeer, our able Mr. Thanadu Amarasekara. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senior Professor Ajanta Dharmasiri and the three panelists for that very wonderfully curated panel discussion where so many different angles and dimensions of research were discussed, along with how it has an ability to add value to the business sector. May I now invite the Director of PIM, Dr. Senaka Kalum Gamage, and the Industry Dialogue Coordinator, Dr. Samantha Ratnayaka, to hand over the tokens of appreciation to our moderator and the three panelists. So the moderator and the panelists could. May I first invite our moderator, Senior Professor Ajanta Dharmasiri. May we have Ms. Kamalini Lavala? May we next have Dr. Ravi Bamusingha. And last but not the least, the president of PIMARC, Mr. Ramesh Dasanayake. Not forgetting our presenters, trying to recognize their contributions. To hand over the certificates of participation and presentation, I once again wish to request Dr. Sena Kalumgamage and Samantha Ratnayake to remain on stage. And also to present these certificates, can we please have the co-chair of the PIM Annual Research Conference, Senior Professor Ajanta Dharmasiri, on stage as well. Thank you, sir. First, we invite Ms. Yerushi De Silva. Ms. Bhagya Senanayake. May we have Ms. Shriyangani Dhanapala. Thank you very much, gentlemen. They say ladies are very good at finding exact points and details, and having three lady presenters clearly goes on to prove that statement this evening as well. It is my honor now to deliver the vote of thanks as we come to the conclusion of the PIM Annual Research Conference as well as the industry dialogue. Firstly, big round of applause and recognition for the support and leadership of Dr. Sena Kalumgamage, who has been a driving force behind the success of this event. The two conference co-chairs, Senior Professor Ajanta Dharmasiri and Dr. Trevor Mendes, for their leadership and guidance in making this day a success. Also to all the chairs of the different conference tracks, including the industry dialogue, which was headed by Dr. Samantha Ratnayake. Thank you very much, sir, and all the conference chairs for your contribution and your leadership in that, along with all the panelists who made sure that they spent the day working with the presenters, giving them guidance on how to further their research contributions and make sure that more value creation happens to the organization. Massive thank you to the conference secretary, Ms. Nelun, for her dedicated commitment and effort, and also to all the PIM staff, including the IT center team headed by Mr. Sisira Turuliyage, Savan, Ravindra, and everybody. Also from the administrative team headed by our senior administrative registrar, Mr. Jayant Ranapura, and the team who has contributed towards the success of this event, looking into the logistics and making sure everything is well organized and arranged. Not forgetting all the presenters, the three lovely ladies here, Yerushi, Bhagya, and Shriyangani, as well as all the presenters who have been presenting their papers from the morning and sharing their knowledge and their hard work with pride with the research-minded business community and all the interested stakeholders. At the same time, to all the guests who have been a part of this, our panel members, as well as those who visited us from the parent university, a big round of recognition for their efforts and spending time with us to show us how important this event is to them. Last but not the least, to all our audience members who have joined us both physically as well as virtually, to encourage us to be with us throughout this day as we turn a new chapter and we experience a new dawn in the era of insight-driven decision-making and business leadership. Thank you. Without your participation and your encouragement, today would not have been a success, or today would not have been a possibility. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, as we are ready to conclude, may I remind you that once the industry dialogue is concluded, for those who are present here, we would be taking a group photograph right in front of the stage. Do join us for that. After all, They say life is about the moments and memories we create with them, which we go on to cherish in the years to come. And refreshments will be served outside after the industry dialogue as well. With that, we come to the end of the PIM Annual Research Conference 2023, a day in which we furthered the boundaries of creating value through research for organizations. Until PIMARC 2024, that's a wrap. Thank you and good night.